What would you then say are the core values, of the brand?
Well, for us as a brand team, I think understanding our consumer mindset, who we're targeting specifically, is very important. I mean, our sustainability journey didn't just start with the launch of this project.
Yeah.
And that's why we really do encourage consumers to return the bottle.
But tell them that you studied at UJ. I think it's very important.
Wow.
I did a BCom honors in marketing and logistics.
Pat. It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you branded, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Better be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Pat and Brands podcast with Pat and
Mpumi. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the Pat on Brands podcast with myself, Unumpumelelo Vundla, and Pat Masango.
Yeah, I see you on brand today.
That is why. Duh. Would I not be a brand marketing person if I didn't understand the nuances of brand marketing?
The colors of what we'll be talking about today.
Absolutely. Quite exciting. But pulse check, how are you doing?
But I told you I'm in my stress era.
You're in your stress era.
Yeah, but we still alive and kicking. We running at full steam on the Yoba perspective. We just got back from our first activation at the Santin Convention Center for the Buy Local Summit. So it was really an exciting thing to do for us.
Yeah.
And also just to get first-hand feedback from our potential stakeholders.
Absolutely. That's good. I did pop in. It was quite, I loved it. It was quite clean in the sense of how it looked and felt.
Yeah.
I was telling the team I had 3 objectives. I suppose one was, as a festival planner, calling me that.
Yeah.
It's just to see what other brands are doing out there from an exhibition perspective.
Yep.
And anybody who plans festivals and exhibitions, with the little that I learned from last year, it's quite a lot of work.
Absolutely.
Just to see what's out there, what's the current look and feel that people are going for, and also in terms of brands, interactions, I think we sometimes do forget. I think we looked at or we saw investor brands that we also need to consider, and also in terms of merchants that actually make the buying and selling quite easy. For example, I think we're looking at Take-A-Lot, for example, not that we're giving them airtime, but that was just also something that we kind of forgotten in terms of how do we get brands from an online perspective to.
I hope we'll get the CEO of Take-A-Lot here.
Yeah.
to come tell us about, all things localization and what they're doing to drive e-commerce in South Africa.
And there's game changers now.
Absolutely.
There's Temu, there's Amazon. So there's a lot happening there. So it really should be.
But the Temu one is a bit of a shaky
touch and
one.
go.
Touch and go. They're not paying taxes.
But anyway, we'll have a conversation another time. Not today.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But also, I must say, I've never seen you so smitten.
About?
Compliments.
Oh, we actually need to do a shout out to Mr. Jan. I didn't get his surname, but I got the name. Mr. Jan, who stopped us. And I think I was taken aback because I think it was for a while, and he was... in Xhosa, they'll say uyasincoma, and he was really talking about what this podcast did for him. And I think Pat is actually probably probing this because we get tired along the way, him included. But I think it was quite nice to hear that our podcast has actually, touches so many people.
Actually, there's people who are literally watching, not some robots.
Yeah, it's actually people. Please comment so people actually can see that we mean. But he touched on quite, I think, what the objective of what the podcast is about.
Really,
he really said it unsolicited, honestly. He didn't have to, and he's telling us that what it did for him, he wanted to register for a course, and he said he so happened to bump into our podcast, and he was like, this is what we've been looking for. And he touched on issues that we always talk about, or most of the time, and he was saying as a small agency, sometimes pricing is an issue. Maybe we don't even know what we're talking about as brands. We have ideas. Sometimes maybe we give brands the whole campaign? How do we give half a bit of a campaign? How do we almost kind of give you like a taste of this is what we could do for you and so forth? So,
and as you know, brands always say, "Oh, give us a Ferrari," but they have budget for a Toyota. but anyway,
it's making wine out of a beer budget.
Yeah,
and that brings us to where we at.
Yeah,
we have a beautiful guest on our episode today, and we're going to talk about something that is, I think, a buzz of the town. ESG. But also, I think those who did King Code would have known also environmentally, you have to be environmental and responsibilities and so forth. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Very fascinating. Yes. I know this brand is a favorite amongst the many in South Africa. And Bhavna Mistry.
Welcome, Ms. Bhavna Mistry.
Thank you, guys.
How are you?
I am really excited.
Awesome.
I think that I've had the pleasure of working on this project for the last 2 years, which I'll tell you about. And I think that it's really fulfilling to see something that you work on in people's hands. People talking about it. So
before we get into
the project.
The project. Let's get to know you. Let's get to know.
So that they're not like, no, you guys just took somebody, man, to come talk to us.
Come talk about
Who's Miss Bhavna? What's her journey? How did she become the senior brand manager that she is today at Heineken?
Have you always wanted to be in marketing? Let's take it back.
Yes. So, not marketing. I think that like fresh out of university, you sometimes don't know what you want to do. But I remember growing up, I had such love for advertising. I'd see these big brands do these amazing ads and I'm like, wow, just looking up to these brands. And one that really stood out to me was Red Bull. And like the back, when it was those little sketches ads. And I was like, Red Bull gives you wings. And I was like, that is such a simple idea. And the creativity and the courage
it just flew with it.
Behind putting an ad like that, literally just flew with it. Good one. I think the creativity and the courage behind putting media investment behind that and people knowing exactly what the product was about. Like, I was just like, wow, you won over my heart. I think I was like 14 or 15. Didn't know what Red Bull was about.
Sure.
Very distinct. Like you say, with the drawing, you knew that is a Red Bull ad.
Yes. And I was like, wow, that's something really amazing. And I always thought that like, that's my journey. Like I want to go into advertising. It's super cool. All those things. So I registered at Vega. Did a year at Vega. Well, 3/4 of a year at Vega. Because what really interested me was the brand strategy module that they had and understanding consumer behavior and like how all of those wheels work together. And then like the ad is the final product of that. And so because I had such an interest in consumer psyche or just people in general, the psyche, I was like, okay, no, I think I need to do marketing. So I took a change in career. It's similar. But
same industry.
Yes. And I really, really enjoyed my marketing degree. And I also enjoyed the strategy part of it. And so then fast forward, I applied for the graduate programs at most of the big FMCGs. And I was lucky enough to get placed at SAB.
Oh, nice. But tell them that you studied at UJ. I think it's very important that you mentioned that you also a UJ.
And as a UJ graduate. A representative in color also.
You're part of the Orange Army.
I did study at UJ.
Did you do that Colgate challenge?
No, I didn't.
It was okay. It was before. It was after your time. After your time. But it's really interesting that I mean, oftentimes the people that we have here are in marketing, but they never studied marketing.
Yeah, I think we could solidly say a good 85%. I think have either come from engineering. I think we've always said sciences or finance mostly, accounting mostly. But I think it's also quite nice and refreshing. I think for the past two guests we've had who really come from the discipline of marketing. And again, it helps because then that's somebody who then understands whether it is B2B, B2C. They really talk about the technical stuff and understand, like you say, the psyche of a consumer. But now, I mean, you've you've gone into brand management, and what would you then say are the core values of the brand, and how would you ensure that they're effectively communicated to consumers, seeing that it's about consumer psyche?
So for us as a brand team, I think understanding our consumer mindset, who we're targeting specifically, is very important. And we need to understand them from a physiological point of view and psychological point of view to understand what their needs are, what drives them. And those behavioral elements is really how we are able to connect with the consumer. And something that's really important to us is driving that affinity. So making the brand relevant in the lives of consumers.
Got you.
Sure.
So the values from our perspective that we always try to drive is to meet the consumer, number one, where they are, in a space, an environment where they're present, so that you can connect with them. And we need to do so in a way that's very relevant for the consumer. So everything that we do, like be it an event or if it's a piece of advertising, it's about ensuring that we bring our brand persona to life, which is all about ingenuity and wittiness, and bring that tone of voice to the lives of our consumers, and to make sure that we connect with them so that they do have that brand love and ultimately loyalty for the brand product.
Yeah,
sure.
But I must say, your advertising has been very interesting, and one that really stands out more recently, COVID-19, when there was a party for the vaccinated.
Yes.
That video with that ad with the older generation.
Yeah.
It was really a
interesting,
a great piece of work. But also you made mention of like events and all these other aspects of brand sort of activations
and awareness
come to life. Then measurement, how do you measure the success of those? What metrics do you look at? Because at the end of the day, obviously you got your finance guys as well that are saying, Bhavna, we gave you a budget of X amount of money. And what has been the return?
We have a conversions. And we always make a joke to say that I think marketing is that brand where or that department where if nothing is happening, it's marketing's fault. But if something's happening, it's not only marketing.
That's very true.
Joke.
Yeah.
So, within the Heineken business, we use a penetration-based marketing model. Okay. And basically what that says is that it's a leaky bucket. You will continuously get consumers in, but you will also lose consumers.
Wow.
So it's very important to recruit consumers into the brand. And it's not just that linear funnel of like you're going to get someone, drive awareness, drive consideration,
then retain, then loyalty.
Conversion.
Yes, 100%. So it's not just about that. That is important, but we need to ensure that we're always recruiting so that we can grow our brand.
Sure.
So something that we use as a measurement tool is the brand guidance system. And basically all our campaigns, so every campaign that we do will have specific targets and objectives, right? So for example, if you're launching a new product, it might be about awareness, driving breakthrough awareness and driving trial, just say if it's a new product.
Yeah.
But then if you're doing something building off an existing campaign, it might be to drive resonance, for example, with our consumers. But ultimately, all of that ladders up to your brand love that we want to measure. And based on this here, we need to ensure that we are aware all the time. So we measure our awareness from a total brand perspective. We also measure how meaningful we are to a consumer, so how much brand love, and how different we are versus the competitive set. So all three of those give us a brand power score, and that is like what consumers feel for us. How, and in there's like multiple metrics of like top of mind awareness, all of those things from the consideration funnel. But ultimately, it's that everything that we do on Heineken is to drive that brand power score, because the more aware, the more brand power you have, it means the more sales power you have. So more consumers would want to spend against your brand.
So you don't have a tough job then in terms of I'm just coming from just convincing the business that actually they must invest in marketing, because a lot of businesses say, okay, we're giving you so much money, but where are the results? When the results now? But with that leaky bucket sort of point of view, it's really about saying if we stop advertising for example, today, if we stop marketing today, the business will shut down in a matter of months even.
So that's why it's always about recruiting new consumers into the brand, making sure that you're within their repertoire of drinks. So that's why like having salience and awareness throughout the year is very important, irrespective of what campaign you're doing.
Sure.
And we try and balance our activity between like making sure that it's through the line. So we touch different consumers at their different journeys. So like if they're on the path to purchase, for example, in store, there's communication there.
Sure.
If they are driving, there's out of home somewhere, so that the brand is always top of mind. But then you measure, you compound that with the creative that you put out there, and that is how you really drive the affinity towards the brand.
Yeah, I think, and then I think in a couple of episodes we've had, just a few before this one, is we touched on, I think, different marketers and different industries or sectors where you find, I think in FMCG, you're the core function of the business.
Yes.
So the toughness comes in now understanding that your consumer is the one you have to woo in a way, and like you're saying, from a recruitment perspective. So it's not even about your finance team anymore. It's I think the toughness is to say, now here are the people, we're finding them. So the creativity needs to come in, the actual marketing 4 Ps come in to say, where are they getting this product? Is it accessible as it should? And thinking innovatively around how do we access this product. But I think over and above that, I think that's one thing, and this is where we then touch in terms of the importance of brands becoming quite environmentally aware and their contribution to the environment. I think we have, different from ESD, we have different programs that are there.
ESG?
No, I'm coming back.
FT?
No, I'm going to come back. I
ANC?
Wow.
Kidding.
I think we have different programs that are there, whether it's, like I was saying, from an ESD perspective, where you are helping whether it's from a Bursa perspective, whether it is to bring about from a bottling perspective. So there's different ways where brands play a part economically over and above them just selling, but also environmentally. And that's where we're going to touch on to say, what is the importance, I think, when at Heineken now introducing the project in terms of thinking around, and like you've said, for the past 2 years, what was that thing that said, okay, now we need to move into an environmentally focused or be more environmentally focused, with Heineken?
So I think fortunately we're part of a global brand, right?
Yeah.
And as a company, Heineken International, we have a strategy called Brew a Better World.
Okay.
Which is...
That's such a beautiful tagline.
It is. And it's about ensuring that there's a sustainable future.
Yeah.
And as a company, what we want to do is reach carbon neutrality by 2040 throughout our supply chain.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's a very bold ambition for the company as a whole. And how it works is with all the different opcos, we need to plug into this in different ways. And that is where this project and some of the other projects that we've also done have been born from, because we know that we need to ensure that there is a future for our brands to survive in and thrive in.
Yeah.
And as a brand, we need to take an active stance on sustainability and making sure that our products are consumed in a way that is sustainable.
And you really touched on, I think, the global and now the localized mandate for 2040, which is quite interesting. But now let's try that again. Heineken has recently introduced this new initiative, and I know the team was there a week or two ago, but we have the returnable bottle.
Drum roll, everybody. Yeah. In good.
And I think offline we spoke about, doing or thinking green across different departments, in the business. And maybe we can touch on that, and then we'll go into the green zone. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, our sustainability journey didn't just start with the launch of this project.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At Heineken Beverages, we've also invested in solar power. So we have 16,000 solar panels at our Citibank brewery.
Sure.
So we brew with solar power. 2 years ago, we changed all our plastic shrink packaging into board-based packaging because it's a bit more environmentally friendly. Then also from an events and activation perspective, we sponsored Formula E. So
I remember that. Yeah.
We had that in Cape Town.
I didn't get an invite, yeah.
Next one.
Yeah. I love how Bhavna is just like, oh, sorry. Try again next time.
Yeah.
But also what we did there is what we call the greener bar, and there everything was developed sustainably. So from the wood, the plants, like the plants can't take too much water, like the merchandising that we developed, it was all made from sustainable cotton and those sorts of things. So the sustainability agenda, I think, is something that we've been building, and the launch of the new Heineken 650ml Star bottle is just another step in the broader sustainability agenda that we're trying to drive.
Oh, amazing. Just to circle back to the points you made about like your events, and I think the podcast speaks to entrepreneurs or brand builders. You know, oftentimes people will talk X, everything across board has to be
bottom up, left to right, but everybody's thinking green, like you say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sustainability also doesn't happen overnight, right? And like as a business, we understand that. And we also know that it's the little steps that you take to build out a sustainable future. So from an events perspective, we might not be able to do every single event in a very sustainable way. But the ones where we can support, like, I mean, with, for example, a reusable aluminium cup instead of having a single-use plastic cup that every consumer throws away. We do consider those things, but I mean, it's also sustainability is quite an expensive exercise, and we need to choose our battles.
It's like eating healthy.
Absolutely. That broccoli, my gosh.
So it is a journey, Pat. Like, we're not going to solve it today. But I think that we as a business and a brand are really proud that we are making inroads into this.
Absolutely. And my understanding is that this bottle is the first of its kind from a Heineken perspective. And it's only in South Africa.
So from this design perspective, yes, we have a project called Recharge the Icon, which is the bold, beautiful red star that you see on the bottle.
Yeah.
And what we really wanted to do is we didn't want to have like mainstream perceptions around a returnable bottle.
Got you.
We really wanted to drive the premiumization of the returnable space. And we looked at inspiration from other premium brands that do reusability, like reusing your, I don't know, milk bottle, those sorts of things, your woolly shopping bag, those sorts of things. It's something that a consumer needs to be very proud of. And so when we designed this bottle, we worked together with our global team, and it was really about making our iconography stand out.
Okay.
That's why we took the
iconography
star.
being?
That beautiful red star. And also, like, I mean, if you look at the bottle, you will feel when you hold it in your hand, we've embossed the bottom of the bottle with the Heineken word mark. So, like, I think it gives a consumer a really nice premium feel in their hand.
Yeah, so it was really thought out. It wasn't just say, okay, cool, we need to have a good version of the bottle, and off it goes.
It's quite nice that, you know, we have, and then I think retail also, you see quite a lot more packaging is quite important. Because sometimes people assume maybe slap bam, you put a label there where there's a lot more thought. I think you've touched on, for example, premium brands, is that you're not just looking at any brand, but there's now categorization to say that this is the type of, and I remember working on a whiskey brand, it was that, you know, when people walk into the whiskey, they're seeing the top brand category. And then the other one, you kind of now need to look at redesigning that way it doesn't look like it's like, I don't even know what that you're trying to grab, because now it doesn't relate to that person that you're trying to talk to.
Yeah, and I mean, even the crate that we developed, you'll see that like across the market, they just have like embossed with the supplier's name on the crate.
Wow.
The Heineken crate is another innovation within the country in terms of it being a 3-color printed crate. So it's got like the Heineken word mark again on the crate. that's printed in color, and you don't normally see that. So it is really
Is
about...
that what justifies the price of a Heineken bar?
We are a premium brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So delicious drink, delicious money.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's about differentiating ourselves in a very meaningful way. And I mean, we'll speak a bit more about the campaign that supports this. But like, I think everything that we've tried to do with this campaign has been very purposeful in terms of driving a sustainability message.
And to tell us more, just a bit about, for the consumer who's out there, who's like, what does this mean to them? You know, for the fact that now we have a bottle, we've spoken about, you know, what has gone into it, but what does it mean for that consumer who buys it? Where do they return? Do they return it? Do they keep it as an heirloom, pass it down, you know?
So it's definitely a returnable bottle. And South Africans are also not new to a returnable bottle.
Absolutely.
What we encourage consumers to do is to return the bottle from where they've purchased it from, and they do get a deposit value. But we also know
how much do you?
R2 per bottle.
Okay.
So that's the value of the bottle when it's empty, so they can return it. But we also know that some consumers might not. And what we also know is that within the broader ecosystem of returnables, it's actually a revenue stream and a job
for other people.
For people
I remember
there.
actually growing up, we used to collect bottles, empty bottles, and go take it back to wherever and get some money.
And I mean, within this ecosystem, we rely on the bottle collectors to also return it to their route to market partners or their taverns, so that we do get our bottles back. Because we'll touch on it just now, but like, I mean, we do not want to see our brand and our bottle lying around
on the streets somewhere.
And that's why we really do encourage consumers to return the bottle, so that we have Feels Green with Grass and not glass.
And that goes into then the campaign that's attached, you know, to the bottles, which is, the green zones.
Yes.
So tell us more about that.
So the insight stemmed from the fact that we know that within our economy, glass is often not recycled properly. And it's quite an expensive exercise to recycle it. And
Sorry, you were saying it's not recycled properly. But it's okay. Wow.
So what happens is that glass is extremely heavy.
Okay.
So you know those guys who pull the trolleys? It's a lot easier for them to take cardboard, tin, plastic, all of those things. And what happens is that glass ends up in spaces where it's really not supposed to be. And we know that this can be really dangerous because glass breaks, all of those things. And when we were doing our consumer research and looking for insights towards this campaign, we actually seen like Heineken bottles lying around and those things. And we said that as a brand, we do not want to have fields of glass in our communities that we serve. And that is where the campaign platform of Feels Green with Grass, not glass, stemmed from. And in order to drive a bit more purpose behind this, we said that as a brand, we need to take an active stance and clean up these spaces in which our bottles are currently lying. And that's where the Green Zone initiative came in. And what we're doing as a brand is, in this year, we're going to roll out 5 green zones. We've done 3 already. So
well done.
I mean, for this year's target, we're almost done.
Wow. Where are they?
So there's one in Philippi in the Cape. We did one in El Dorado Park. And that's the Go Green, Go Clean site. And then we did the Sakikaya Youth Development Center in Lolly.
Okay.
So those are the 3 that we've done. We are looking to roll out 2 more, but I mean...
Are you at liberty to share which areas?
Right now, I think...
I hope I can make it to those.
Like, I mean, I'll speak a bit more about like how we're going about finding those other 2 green zones. But basically, these spaces are based on what the community needs. Each green zone is like, I mean, we work with the community to see what they need. So, for example, in Lolly, that green zone, they were really looking for a source of food and some medicinal plants. So that green zone and that youth development center is really focused on plants that can feed the community, as well as plants that offer medicinal value.
Wow.
In El Dorado.
So it's not just a one size fits all approach.
But value.
It is about what the community needs, because ultimately, we want the communities to buy into this, and we want them to feel the value that we're delivering. In Eldorado Park, it was about having grass, lights from a safety perspective, some plants, places where the youth as well as adults can feel safe. So there we planted grass, put paving walkways, and we also put lighting because that's what they need to feel safe.
Sure.
So for us, a green zone is a space that the community needs. And what we do, and we try and ensure that we do, is we clean up these spaces.
Sure.
Remove all the glass, all the waste, that's all the litter that's not recycled or disposed of correctly, and transform the space.
So it's not just about the environmental aspect of it, but also social.
Yes. And something also that is very important to us for the brand and a key criteria in selecting these spaces, and that's why we don't have the next 2 yet. It's about ensuring that we can sustain these spaces and that it has longevity. And the way we have tried to do that is through getting community buy-in, because the community needs the vegetables or they need the safety. So they are invested in it as well to keep it as a space that they're proud of.
Yeah.
So
they pride themselves in.
Yes. So we've definitely done that. And then in terms of the future green zones, we've circled this back to our campaign, right? So we know that there's spaces where there's probably glass and communities actually want green zones. So what we're encouraging consumers to do is to return their Heineken bottles, and there's a nomination form on our website, and we will have a WhatsApp bot where the community can get involved, return their bottles, and nominate future green zone opportunities.
Wow.
And I did mention that this is for longevity. So we might be only doing 5 this year because it's quite a long exercise in terms of finding a site, meeting the criteria, ticking all those boxes, then like working with landscapers to transform it. So we've committed to 5 this year, but this initiative is going to go into 2025 and beyond, because as a brand, we really believe that we need to drive a sustainable future, and we need our communities, consumers and customers involved and invested in it.
Sure.
Interesting stuff.
That is intense. So as you heard, I mean, if you need to, you can nominate. If you've seen, I know, not far from home, I'm already thinking of South Side. I don't know how they do it, but South Side. But I think there is quite a lot where you actually see on the weekend it's Pasela for all there. But it would be quite a nice initiative. So I'll definitely
so both of you are from the South.
You from the South?
I am from
the South side.
And you went school in the same area, but
yes, up the road.
Schools.
Yeah, just up the road.
She was at Greenside High, and you were at
Parktown.
There you go.
Oh
when he said up the road, I was like,
Was there rivalry between the two schools?
There's no time. There's no time for what are you rivaling about? Sure. You've spoken about sustainability and what else can we expect, with the project? I mean, you've spoken about the 2 green zones that are coming this year, and that we implore all our audience to actually go nominate, places where they wish to actually see the green zone pop up. And the reason, I suppose it also says reasons why, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so take the time to actually nominate. This is something that is, like we said, socially inclined and for the community. But I mean, offline again, we spoke about really amazing stuff we can expect. What else can we expect as the consumer regarding going green?
Yeah, so I mean, we really wanted to take this campaign full circle.
Yeah.
And when we were developing the green zones, we realized that we had all this glass and we were cleaning up these spaces, and we used to be in a non-returnable bottle, and we're going to have all this glass left over. So we worked with our agencies.
Yeah,
and
what now?
Like, what can we do? So something that we are really, really passionate and excited about is a platform that we will be launching soon called Waste to Wear and Waste to Homeware.
Wow.
And what we will be doing is crushing the glass of those one-way bottles and making them into wearable items. So it could be a ring, a little medallion piece of accessory.
Sure.
Are you going to send us some items?
I will, Pat.
Bhavna is like, I know, I knew that question was coming.
Yes, I do. Something else that we are also doing is taking this glass and making crockery items. So like plates, glasses, bowls, vases, those sorts of things that we will probably give away on social media, or ultimately we could sell it on. Like, I mean, I think we're still working through the plan of that, but like it's waste to wear and waste to homeware. So taking it full circle through. And something that's also really cool about our green zones is that there's crushed glass in the concrete pavers that are within that space. So like, I think that we're really trying to reduce our impact of our one-way glass and take it to a space where I don't think other brands have yet.
Nice.
But I mean, the intentional thinking around the whole, you know, this ends up somewhere where it's useful, you know, at the end of the day. So it's just not a packaged item for a cold bev, you know, on a Monday, Thursday, you know, whenever you decide to have a cold one. But sure, it's been so interesting just to really think around. And I think even and we always circle back to smaller businesses that we say our audience, but it's always around thinking around that is sustainability. I think we usually kind of leave that accountability and responsibility with bigger brands.
When, absolutely.
You know, we can also start thinking around, you know, as a small business, how do you actually become impactful with whatever it is you're doing, and become sustainable? So whatever in a small, and I think you've really shared around just small changes that you're making. Well, your scale is quite big, but how do you then think around doing things in a more safer way, you know, I mean, a more healthier way for the environment, sustainable way for the environment, but also for then your social impact. Sure.
I learned quite a bit, you know.
Yeah, I did.
As with many other episodes, I must say.
Yeah.
So Bhavna, obviously, you know, we've got young professionals, young marketers watching this, and we always ask our guests, our guests.
I don't
give a little bit of our guests to share some words of wisdom, for the young marketers, young entrepreneurs out there that are trying to climb the ladder, to one day become senior brand managers, for example.
Or even somebody who doesn't even know what to study, because we do have quite a couple of people who are like, I didn't know what to do. I just fell into it sometimes, and it's quite an important, again, offline, we're like, this is a science really, because the assumption 100%. Is if you have a billboard and you put something up there, it should rock. And I think our episode with Brew mentioned to say that now think of it literally, that if somebody's seeing that billboard and we're saying that's 10,000, is the business able to service 10,000 perfectly or well? Yes. So that's the thought process. But giving it to you, what would we say to that young person out there who either doesn't know marketing, is thinking about marketing, is a marketer, trying to make their way through, the marketing?
Even your peers, because there's also your peers that are not as smart as you.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of what marketing is strategy and commercial understanding. A lot of people think that it's just putting an advert out there or like a social media post or a tweet. But I think that for me, it's about strategy. And strategy is very, it's about what you are doing, but also what you're not doing, and being quite deliberate in terms of those two things. And I think that marketing and communication is meeting the consumer at where they're at and making sure that you can leave an impact on that consumer. But behind that, I think everybody needs to understand that it's about strategy, about what the brand stands for, what it is that you're trying to do, and it's very deliberate. So for me, it's a combination of creativity and data and putting together something beautiful that a consumer ultimately sees that will change behavior.
Sure.
And I think that's kind of why I got into this. I want to make a difference. I want to be able to change a consumer's heart, mind in a small way. and be that brand love, or they're picking up your product, or they're like, oh, that tweet is really clever.
Yeah.
It's those small
something
things
that resonates.
Yeah. So, I mean, to the people that don't know if marketing's for them, come job shadow us.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that door open?
Yeah.
Is that door open for job shadowing?
I wish somebody had done that for me, because like I said, I thought advertising was
marketing.
where I wanted.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think not so long ago we were talking with I think it was my sister, and we said every year, end of the year, you had to submit a document of that you've job shadowed, because there was that break between exams, and then when you go back and fetch your report.
Okay.
Only now we're like, because every time we just be like, again, we must go find somebody and job shadow again. But
it's
now
the benefits of going to school.
Absolutely.
So I was went to Hotala Senior Secondary.
No, you're right, and I think, and it goes back to that. Some people, it's not that they don't understand science; it's that they can't experiment and understand visually. So it doesn't mean that they're bad at science. It's just they don't have different ways in which they think and how they actually comprehend with information that actually helps. So it becomes a disadvantage. So when it comes to the job shadowing mentorship, those are two, I think, pivotal things that students need to do. I didn't know what CA was up until we went to go to PwC and enjoyed some lunch. I still don't even know, even when I signed with Deloitte. But that's besides the point. But
you still went on and finished an accounting degree.
Try something, whatever it is, get to know more about it. I think marketing is not just, like you say, marketing. You went into advertising, and then it was like, oh, ta-da, this is not really what I thought. And even with technology, it's become so much bigger.
And I think that a key thing for me that I've learned through my career, it's not just about the now, right? It's about planning for the future. And that's where like your brand plans and your strat comes in. And it's also about staying true to what consumers' trends might be in a year or two, so that you can make those connections at that time. So, I mean, it's a combination of like planning, execution, all those beautiful things.
So what Bhavna is saying is that we are prophets as marketers. No, I'm kidding. But it has been quite a informative session. Again, like we said, it's all about brands, all things marketing. I think we've really touched on those elements. So I hope you guys learned quite a lot about.
Absolutely. The next time you see these in the fridges or in a crate somewhere,
pat it and take it.
And bring it back.
Wow, great. So now to the fun part of the podcast. It's not the Pat and Mpumi podcast if there's no quiz. So we can't.
So this part,
we are here.
Our guest is traumatized by, but as you would know there at home, this is the amazing part. This is the part that people go and watch, right?
So she's looking at me funny. She's like, you guys, I hope you're not.
So how it goes is we pat you if you get it right, and then we slap you. But again, we do not condone any abuse on this channel.
It's a
so
virtual
it's
pat.
A virtual slap
and a virtual
pat.
Okay.
So question number 1: which South African telecommunication company was launched the first mobile network in South Africa in 1994? Was it A, Vodacom? Was it B, MTN? Was it C, Cell C?
Vodacom.
Are you going to go with Vodacom?
Yes.
Okay. You deserve a slap.
Oh, was it MTN?
Yeah, I saw you kind of wanting to go the yellow side.
I did, but for some reason, like the red was everywhere. Hey, guys.
But it was blue at some point.
How rebranding is that now we only see red.
It was blue.
Sorry, the blue was everywhere.
Yeah. But I mean, that is the power of branding.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
Question number
2. Offline, we had a very interesting chat, Bhavna. And you seemed like someone who knows their brands.
No pressure, eh?
On average, how much does the ShopRite group make in a minute?
Is there multiple choice on this?
Clearly, I don't know if he's not giving you.
No, I'm kidding. The question is
This question seems very hard.
It's hard. How well do you know your hospitality brands?
Like hotels and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll ask a question. You can edit it out if it's not right.
What year was Tsogosan Hotel Group established, making it one of the largest hotel chains in South Africa? Tsogosan. 1969, 1983, 1999, 1990.
I'm just going to guess here, but I think it's B.
1983.
I don't know. Yeah.
You get a pat.
Ah.
A good guess.
So, I mean, my brother worked for the Tsogosan group.
So you did a bit of a quick calc.
Yeah, but like I wasn't sure. There were two that were quite close to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Third question for time. How many branches did Capitec Bank have in South Africa as of January 2022? Was it 500 or over 500, or was it over 2,500, or was it over 2,000?
Over 2,000. Was that a smack?
No, that's no, we don't do smacks. We do pats. So you got 2 out of 5 so far. And then, or do we still keep it at 4? Want to keep it at 4?
No, last question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Again, the ShopRite group. How much money do you think goes through the ShopRite group's tills per minute?
Is it?
Is it 2 million rands? Is it 6 million rands? Or is it 20 million rands?
20 million?
Per minute?
I don't know. I think so.
I mean, they are raking in.
They are, but not that much.
No? Is it like 6 million?
6 million.
Okay.
Per minute, imagine.
That'd be healthy.
But like, I mean, it's amazing. Like how much money goes through retail.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But also I think with inflation as well.
Yeah.
Take that into consideration.
So it might be 20 million.
No, not yet.
Because we still complain, but we still buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And also there's something called food security that's also popping up on news and stuff. So we should actually have a conversation around that.
Yeah, one day. Sustainability, food security.
Agriculture.
Everything has to be sustainable.
Absolutely. But that brings us to our end.
If people want to get in touch, they want to job share though. You did say that door is open, so don't be surprised when you get 1,000 DMs on LinkedIn. People wanting
well, that's where they can get a hold of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the only place?
For now.
And what's the name?
Bhavna Mistry.
So you can find Bhavna on LinkedIn with the name Bhavna Mistry. So
Yeah, so Tabang is going to put the name down. You'll see it and you can just connect with any parting shots one last time to say, I don't know, you want to talk about this or you want to talk about something else that's coming up? The floor is yours.
The pressure.
Now there's pressure. No, I want to say thank you to both of you and your extended team. It was really great to talk about this. And like I started this and I said that I'm really excited and proud. I feel a bit more of it because I get to share it with you guys and all your viewers. So hopefully they know about what we're doing. They will love it a bit more. And know that we are doing this because of the purpose.
Absolutely.
And the difference that we can make as a brand. And just thank you both.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was an honor to have you on our show. And also to share, I think, the nuggets on marketing, like we said, around the brands, and talking to, like we've said, our small business owners, our entrepreneurs out there. This is the huddle corner, the AA class that we have here, or the MA, Marketing Anonymous class that we have here. So thank you once again.
That pun intended.
Absolutely. Thank you once again to our audience. that, like we said, we did a shout out at the beginning to one of our audience that actually has been watching religiously our episode. So we do thank you. We have grown, like we said in our last episode, we are over 500 subbies. So we are chasing that 1K subby.
And growing.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Listen to us wherever, whenever. But from myself, Unompumelelo Vundla, goodbye.
Yeah, from me, I will not be a marketer if I don't take this opportunity to remind you to nominate your favorite youth-owned brands for the Yobas 2024 rather. And yeah, if you want to get involved, do get in touch with us as well. Pat@patandbrands.com. If you have any suggestions for guests, who would like to see sitting on this chair.
Yeah.
Soon when we have enough budgets, we're going to have a blue chair, as that'll be the hot seat for our guests. But thank you to everyone for supporting the channel. We are growing, even the number of viewers, steadily growing. So it's really amazing to see that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We also welcome positive feedback, by the way. It's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For me, Pat Matangitini.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Pat. It's Pat on Brands. Watch how you branded, man. A pat on the back is a pat from the man. Better be branded, man. A pat from the pat is a pat on the brand.